Voice of Indonesia presents Diplomatic Forum, a talk show analyzing strategic issues and global perspective.
Yeah, finally my mic is connected. Okay, thank you very much. Once again, good morning, Bandung. 1 million people are here today with me from Bandung, West Java. Here is Diplomatic Forum by Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world. A big round of applause for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Steve. I'll be your host for today's Diplomatic Forum. And today we will be talking about something very important. Anyone familiar with the artist called Bob Dylan from the 1970s? I know his song, it's called Times Are Changing. It was since 1970 until today, change is the only thing we can rely upon. The only constant in this world is change. And nowadays we see new jobs emerging and the old ones are dying. They are getting forgotten in the past. And we see new terms, we see AI. We used to call it the global warming, but today we call it the global boiling. We used to call it natural disaster, but the whole world decided we do not call that natural anymore. So, the question is, how would we secure our future? There are a lot of choices, but the only thing that a lot of people decided, this one is very important, it's called education. That's why today's Diplomatic Forum is going to talk about education shapes the future. And of course, I will not be talking alone in here. We will be joined by 4 amazing speakers. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our speakers. The first one is the Vice Rector for Research, Community Service and Partnership of Indonesian University of Education, Professor Agus Setiabudi. Good morning, Professor. Come with me. You'll be seated in here. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our second speaker today is the Special Advisor to the Minister for Industrial Relations and International Cooperation at the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology. Please welcome Oki Erlivan Sampurno. Good morning, Pak Oki. How was the trip? It was good. Okay, let's sit next to him. Thank you very much. And of course, not only with speakers from Indonesia, we are also joined by our friends from other country. Please welcome the Institute Director for Geothe-Institut Bandung, Matthias Ventker. Good morning. I hear your Indonesian is so good. Please be seated next to Professor. And here is the last one. The Director of Institut Francais Indonesia, Bandung. Please welcome Christophe Dreyer. Good morning. Nice to see you. Just welcome. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now joined by 4 speakers on the stage, but we are also participated by academicians from several universities in Bandung. We got people from Unpas. Where is from Unpas? And also from UPI Bandung, from Unpad, and UIN Sunan Gunung Jati. Thank you very much for coming to this place. And before I give a question to our speakers in here, please allow us to listen a very special remarks from the Director of UNESCO Multi-Sectoral Regional Office in Jakarta, Her Excellency Maki Katsuno Hayashikawa.
Distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends, it is a pleasure to join you today at the Diplomatic Forum 2025, hosted by the Voice of Indonesia, the World Service of Radio Republic Indonesia. I thank the organizers for the opportunity to reflect on the theme that is central to UNESCO's mission, Education Shapes the Future. In today's rapidly changing world, education is more than a pathway to employment. It is the foundation for peace, sustainability, and human dignity. It equips individuals not only with knowledge and skills, but with the values and resilience needed to navigate complexity and uncertainty. Yet, the challenges still remain. According to UNESCO's latest data, 251 million children and youth remain out of school worldwide, and progress has stagnated over the past decade. In low-income countries, 1 in 3 school-age children are out of school, compared to just 3% in high-income countries. The disparity in education financing is equally alarming. High-income countries invest $8,543 per learner, while low- and middle-income countries manage only $55. In Southeast Asia, UNESCO is working closely with regional partners to address these challenges. Through collaboration, we are advancing inclusive education, gender equality, and foundational learning. Our joint initiatives include early childhood education and parenting programs, digital transformation education, education for peace and conflict prevention, and higher education partnerships that promote sustainability and innovation across ASEAN universities. These efforts reflect our shared commitment to achieving Sustainable Development Goal 4, quality education for all. But we must act with urgency. We must invest in lifelong learning, empower teachers, and ensure that education systems are inclusive, equitable, and future-ready. Let us remember that education does not just prepare us for the future, it shapes who we become. The choices we make today will determine the kind of world we live in tomorrow. UNESCO stands ready to work with all of you to ensure that education continues to be a beacon of hope, a driver of transformation, and a foundation for peace. Thank you. Terima kasih.
This diplomatic forum is brought to you by Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world.
And now I'd like to start the questions for our speakers in here. And it will be starting from a very simple one. Our theme today is Education Shapes the Future. What is the most important keyword that comes to your mind upon hearing that theme? I'd like to begin from Dreyer. What is your keyword? Maybe 1 or 2 words.
I would say innovation.
Innovation.
Invest in education.
Okay, thank you. And also, Ventker, please, what is the most important keyword we need to remember?
Together with innovation, I'd say flexibility, agile. Yeah, to be agile.
To be agile, to be flexible as well. And also, Vice Rector, what would you say?
From university side, we would like to have some impact and global engagement.
Impact and global engagement. Paoki.
Well, everyone has taken my words. so I think everyone has covered, but I'll just add one thing, which is creativity.
Creativity. Okay, we have these keywords in here. We will remember that, and maybe we will dig deeper later into it. But first, I'd like to talk to Pak Oki from representation from our government. In here, we are talking not only about education, but also the future. The government of Indonesia, when we talk about the future, you have the Golden Indonesia 2045 vision. But before going to there, I would like to know, how is the current situation in the education sector, especially in the higher education in Indonesia?
Okay. Before I answer, I'm just going to disclaimer. I was from Bandung, so I was graduated from SMA 3 Bandung.
SMA 3 Bandung, wow.
And then I studied in ITB. So I witnessed many changes in our education sector, not just higher education, but as well as the primary and middle education. But just to highlight the higher education sector, I've been away for 15 years. So I live in the UK since 2010, and I just came back recently since I joined the government. So I didn't really see I was not involved in higher education previously. So I have not have any first-hand experience. But when I joined the government and see what we are going to plan over the next 10 years, 5 to 10 years, I think we are witnessing a very critical moment where Indonesia has shifted from talking about quantity to quality. We have over than 4,000 institutions, universities in Indonesia, almost 9 to 10 million population of students. And we are now in a moment where we have to compete with India and China. So I think Indonesia has shifted and has put a very strong word, which is called kampus berdampak, or we call it university impact. And this is why I think it has changed many things, which is the foundation phase as well as the advanced phase. So I think the Minister of the Higher Education and Science and Technology has made a bold statement and changing many things.
Okay, so there has been changes and perhaps improvements in the sector. And talking about the Golden Indonesia 2045, it says education is the first pillar for this vision. And how committed is the ministry in achieving this vision?
We are very, very committed to this because previously, universities since to have an academic impact. At this moment, we are changing that into three critical factors. One is economic impacts. So how does the university create economic impacts, not just academic impacts? Number two is social impacts. So how does the university impacting social in the region? So it has to be a solution for a local problem. It cannot just be an institution that receives students every year, but then has no implication on the local area. So the third one is the academic impact, obviously, because day by day, time by time, year by year, university has to produce a publicized paper, innovation, and research. So I think those three things that we shift from academic impact, now it become three things. One is economic impact, social impact, and academic impact. Hence, we will set some parameters, not just saying that how many employability rate of the students from this university, but also how many downstream or research that has been produced over the years by the university.
Okay, and specifically in achieving these economic, social, and academic impacts, what are the specific strategies being implemented?
We had several strategies. For the economic impact, we promoting the prime step. Not all university has prime step, so this is an initiative by the minister to promote startups, research, downstreaming from the students and also from the researchers among the university, so that we can see how does the university can create economic directly. And for the social impact is that how does the university link to the government and the society, so it become a solution for the local region, not just for the university itself. And for the academic impact, obviously we always promote to have like a Direka and research paper. We call paper every year, almost 6,000 researchers submitting their application. So I think those three are still aligned with the Pak Prabowo strategy for 2045.
Okay, thank you, Pak Oki. And moving on to Professor Agus, you've been nodding to the statements of Pak Oki, and especially talking about impactful campuses. There are just economy, social, and also academic. And how do you implement it in the campus?
Yes, I think at this moment, innovations, downstreaming, industrial relations is something really the topic of university people. Because at this moment, we are also realize that that is a very important thing that the university has to do, but also it has been also the government policy for our university, for our higher education's landscape in Indonesia. So in our university, for example, we have already units how to do some innovations, how to do the downstreaming, and how to connect with the industry. You can imagine maybe that in the previous UPI, who was concerned on the teacher education program, at this moment we can produce some materials that can be used to lower the temperatures of the building. So we have some projects all over Indonesia to do that. So that is an example from our university to do the impact to the community, the social impact, the economic impact, and also the academic impact is just something we have to do in line with our program.
And in achieving the Golden Indonesia Vision 2045, of course, the university will support this. And what fundamental changes must not only OP, but also any campuses in Indonesia needs to make to achieve this vision?
Yes, to prepare for the future in general and for the 2045 golden era of Indonesia, every university, I think, have to prepare to adapt their curriculum, to prepare the student competence and student skills to be ready for the future job. So in our university, we encourage the academics to always adjust our curriculum, to always adjust the methods, to always adjust the methodology and approach in order to be ready for the future skill, for the future competency of our graduates. We also provide some training for our students to add for their academics program, let's say through the credential program, for them to have some additional skills, some additional competence to be ready for their future.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Agus. And now I'd like to come to our friends from French and also from German, Herr Ventker, and also Monsieur Dreyer. I'd like to, the question is the same for both of you. What elements need to be considered in educational transformation of a country? And maybe you can give suggestion for our people. Maybe starting from Herr Ventker.
First of all, I think our countries, the problems we are facing towards education, some of them are the same, of course, because we're facing the same future, and some are different. We can learn from each other in both ways. I think when making such a strategy like Indonesia 2045, I was actually very glad to read about it, because a problem that education policy always faces in every country is in every democratic country, we have election circles of 4 or 5 years maybe, and then we have a new government, new minister maybe, who wants to prove that he has like very good new ideas, and then everything changes again. But if you have like a long scale, I think that's a very important element. And then I think the main question is also a societal question, like what is the eventual goal of education? Is it having more skilled workers? Is it economic growth? Or is it to build a culture of critical thinking citizens? Because maybe education should not be there to produce workers, but to produce citizens. Yeah. So I think when you mentioned the 3 pillars, they are very much interlinked also, which is a good thing. And then I think a strategy like this, it's important that it is embedded in the whole society, so that teachers, universities, pupils, students, all working together, because a top-bottom education works worse, I guess, than a bottom-up education. So if you think that in a broader scale, education is also something that the whole society has to commit to, so it is important also to include museums, to include libraries, to include cultural spaces, so that a country and a society creates an environment of lifelong learning. That would be one thing, because I remember quite well, my grandparents told me, when we were choosing a job and learning something, we knew for sure that we would work in this job our whole life, and most likely at the same company for our whole life. But the world, I think in Indonesia also, is not like this anymore. Most likely Gen Z millennials also will work in at least 3-4 different jobs throughout their lives. So what used to be more important was memorizing things, just learning things from one job, from one field, and then work there your whole life. But now working and learning through competences to solve problems is becoming more important than just memorizing. That would be just a few ideas for the start.
Problem solving is more important than memorizing, eh? And also, so Mushu, please.
Yeah, I'm completely in phase with Mr. Matthias. That's for sure the actual world where we live in is changing very quickly. And of course, we have to follow the changement. So of course we will have everybody have to change the work and change the atmosphere and to think again and to adapt herself to the new situation. On one thing which is also already in action, I would say in France, is that the continual formation. It means that during our life you will have sometimes to continue to do new studies and to catch the new skills. That is something that we must have in mind because, of course, the world is changing and the needs of each country will change. Of course, if you want to find a job, you can't choose a job that nobody needs, actually. So that's also in the education program, a very huge huge strategy to define, because if you don't look forward which kind of job will be very important, in which kind of specialty we will need a lot of workers, we are not prepared to follow and to go with this changement. So for us, I think it's also very important to take time to have a strategy to think about the future fields where we will need workers, like we may think about IA actually, but there are many fields who are new. And for example, I can see that the generation of the 30-year-old people in France, there are many people working in the environment. But in my generation, there was not so many people. So because environment is now a very important point, of course, and that is create also a lot of needs in terms of jobs. So for a country, of course, there is the local needs, but also the globalization is everywhere. So we need to adapt to that.
Okay, if I can conclude from the first segment, it seems that the Indonesian government has been doing changes. The world is changing and education needs to change or adapt to that kind of changes in the world. Okay, we will have the floor for questioning in the next segment.
Being a long life learner is not about studying forever, it's about being curious forever. Thank you.
You've just listened to Diplomatic Forum, broadcast by Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world.